Julian the Bard drank a smidge too much mead. Before his dungeon adventure, he did not take heed, and now here he is, standing over the key. In a block of ice, oh, wary is he. Can Bard Julian pee on the key in the block? Or will he die, besmirched by sunblight's Zardarok?
Hello and welcome to another episode of That's Absurd. Please elaborate. We call it Science and Comedy Show, where we take questions from you, listeners, each other, guests. The weirder, the stranger, the better. And then we do our best to actually find real, true, mostly correct answers. You know what I'm talking about.
Mostly correct is that was really,
I'm hedging here. I'm
accurate.
Actually mostly correct might be too generous, dare I say it. I am one of your hosts. I am Julian Huguet.
Hello, and I am Trace Dominguez, the other one of your hosts. We are both science communicators. We are very happy and excited to answer these silly questions. And thank you for sending them in. If you want to send us a question, go down into the show notes. You can see all sorts of different ways, from emailing us, going to our website. You can even call and leave us a voicemail. So my question was from listener Luke, who asks, can you pee on an object that is so cold that the act of peeing on it makes you colder?
What?
Yep, that's what
okay.
It is. Can you pee on something that's so cold that while peeing on it, you get colder? And he elaborates, I was playing D&D with my kiddos, 11 and 16, and I trapped a key in a block of ice. And instead of using their torch or violence, my youngest asked to pee on it. My Dungeon Master brain went into overdrive, seeing if there was any way that I could do a point of damage for this, and realized it was a silly thought and moved on. But where else should I send these silly thoughts?
To us. We are the aggregators of silly thoughts.
So, Dungeons, Dragons, Children, and Strange Bodily Functions, I'm obviously in for that. Julian, are you
That
in for
hits
that?
all the highlights, yeah.
So you're saying you're in.
oh, like a gelatinous cube, I walked into that one.
So, anyway, first, Luke, I'm glad that your kid is this good at D&D.
Can't spell dad without D&D.
Accurate. Cannot wait to do D&D with my own kid. Obviously, your kid is chaotic good, which is super fun. But we really have two things here. Firstly, we've got the thermal conduction of pee. And then we have, the speed of heat. So pee is fascinating. It's actually really neat. It's 95% water, and then the remaining 5% in decreasing order is urea, chloride, sodium, potassium, creatinine. I always say that one wrong. Creatinine.
One of those is right. You've definitely got one correct one in there.
Look, I can try a few other ways. Creatinine? I don't know. And then hormones and stuff. The main component that isn't water is urea, which is like an organic compound. It's a result of protein synthesis. So really
That's
cool.
how our body gets rid of nitrogen, right?
Yeah, yes.
When we consume other things, there's a lot of nitrogen that makes it up, and it turns into ammonia, which is toxic after we process it. So our kidneys have to turn it into something that won't kill us and that we can get rid of easily, and that's urea.
Great. I don't have to read all those parts of my
yeah.
notes. That's awesome. Yeah. And urea is actually made for fertilizer as well, like on industrial scales. So it's a really important molecule that we know a lot about. And so the urine that is inside of your body, it collects in your bladder. You can hold between 500 milliliters and 700 milliliters. And then there's that old adage that pee is sterile, which isn't actually true. It's only sterile when it's in the body, in the bladder. Once it travels through the urethra, it's picking up all the stuff that's in the walls of that tube. So it's no longer sterile. And when you pee, most of the people who answer this question in physics forums are trying to find out if when you pee, you lose heat because you're losing mass. But the pee is the same heat as the inside of your body. So you're not getting colder just by peeing. You do have less mass. So maybe, less heat capacity. But generally speaking, you're not colder. the cold that you would be losing, like the energy, you'd have to do a lot of calculus to figure out exactly how much energy you're imparting and losing and whatever else. And I didn't want to get into that too much. But either way, the important thing, urine is mostly water. Water is a good conductor of heat. It conducts at about 25 times faster than air can conduct heat, which is pretty cool. Although in a pure material, according to one answer on Stack Exchange, so you can use that however you want, heat can move at about the speed of sound through a pure conductor of heat. So it moves pretty fast.
But water's also, it's got a high heat capacity, right?
It does.
It takes a lot of energy to actually heat water.
Right. It can hold heat without coming up in temperature too much.
This is why the Earth isn't just like on fire all the time, because the oceans are really good at absorbing heat.
And so instead we're talking about during climate change, we're talking about the world getting hotter, but we're really starting to talk about the oceans getting hotter, and that's causing all these problems with algal blooms and life that can't live in this warmer ocean, or it's changing migration patterns because the water is holding on to the heat. And at some point it will not, and then that heat will just go elsewhere. But either way, let's talk heat. So that's number 2. Heat is basically energy.
This is number 1.
We've talked about this on the podcast before. What?
You said that's number 2.
I just finished with...
No,
I finished with number 1.
Well, I thought we were talking about number 1 the whole time for this question. When does he talk about number 2?
Now we're talking about heat. Oh, I see.
Sorry. Waiting. I was waiting.
I did not follow that at all. Okay, so heat is basically energy. We've talked about it on the podcast before. What 3 ways does heat move around? Julian?
There's convection, conduction, radiation.
And so in this case, with urine, we're talking about...
Conduction.
The physical heat transfer through physical contact. A campfire, it's the logs making the ground underneath the logs hot. Then there's convection, which is like hot air rising and swirling around. And then there's radiation, which is the infrared heat given off by a campfire or whatever else. So conduction is physical contact. You have to actually touch the thing in order to move it. Is pee solid?
I mean, if it is, you should see a doctor.
I mean, it's technically a fluid. I know it's a fluid, but is it a solid stream of thing?
I'm like every particles in contact to some degree.
Yeah.
Like it's bound.
Could you transfer heat by conduction through a stream of urine?
Mean, yeah, my thinking is your problem is the particles are in motion, collectively to this block with the key in it, right? So the conduction would have to travel faster up the stream than the stream is going down. But as to just answer your question, yeah, the stream is, unless you're at the end of the, when you're just doing the spurts, the little, if it's one continuous stream, then yeah, right? Is it? I don't know. Is it?
I love it when you start so confident and then immediately get inconfident.
The opposite of the Dunning-Kruger effect, where the more I talk, the more I'm like, wait. You consider you might be an idiot real quick.
Okay, Julian. Steve Mould, who I love, really great science communicator. He has an excellent video on the shape of a urine.
I thought you were going to say the shape of water, and I was like, he's doing movie reviews now?
He's doing movie reviews, yes. He's doing Avatar Land of Water. Land of Water. Is that what it's called?
If it is, that's terrible. Go on.
Look at the video that I sent you.
Okay,
so you see that stream that he's got
Yeah, what
there?
is this, like corn syrup?
So he used a thicker solution to get a better result so you can see it better. I think it's actually a mixture of laundry detergent and water. But yeah, this is what your fluid looks like coming out of your body. And this is consistent across everyone who pees, no matter if you're standing up or sitting down, no matter how big or small or whatever the orifice that you're peeing out of is. Your pee ends up making this kind of chain shape, which he says doesn't really have a name, which is cool. And it's essentially like an oval that's connected to an oval that's got a quarter turn, that's connected to an oval that's got a quarter turn, that's connected to an oval that's got a quarter turn. And eventually, it is laminar flow at first, and then it breaks up eventually. Because water is sticky, but it's not that sticky. So once out of its body, it interacts with the air and with the gravity and wind and whatever else, and water surface tension is pretty strong, but it can't hold up to that. So it's no longer touching once it's out of your body for a short period. So unless you're really close to that block of ice, if you're standing up and peeing, you probably can't do it. If you're crouching and peeing, I don't know the sex of your kiddos, 11 and 16, Luke, but if one of them crouches to pee, or their character does, maybe they could
Feel free not to follow up with us to specify, by the way. Please don't.
Yeah, we don't need to know. I'm just telling you to give you a variety of, since I don't know all the information. So Luke's main question here is basically moot, though, because if pee turns from a solid, kind of pretty cool looking laminar flow, and then it gets to these broken up drops in a trench coat that we call a stream, then the heat transfer isn't going to come back up the stream, right? The heat is going to be imparted to the thing that the urine is landing on, but the heat's not going to be able to move up the stream. Also, I sort of touched on this earlier, the heat needs to be touching things to move in any direction, and it doesn't move that fast. And so you're talking about moving quite a bit of fluid in a very short period of time, and you're constantly imparting new heat to that fluid. So again, the question isn't going to really have a satisfying solution, not as satisfying as the actual.
When you hear the end of this answer, you won't go like, ah.
Yeah, definitely not.
And maybe like a little shake, like, ah, oh.
So we're talking about a 37 Celsius human and a block of ice at about 0 Celsius, let's say just frozen. An absolute 0 block of ice would be losing heat to everything around it. There is something to be said for, like, when something is colder or hotter, the heat transfer effect is faster. If you put a really hot thing on something, it will transfer more heat more quickly into the thing you put it on. And same with a really cold thing. So an absolute 0 block of ice, assuming you could maintain that, would be losing heat to the air, to the ground, to everything around it, not specifically trying to put heat up the urine stream.
Would it be more accurate to say it would be absorbing heat from everything around it?
Yes, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. I said losing, but what I really mean is losing cold, but that's actually absorbing heat. So yeah, good point. So anyway, Luke's kiddo pees on it with new heat, and that heat is transferred into the cold thing. The cold doesn't move up the pee stream. Cold doesn't go anywhere. Cold is just absence of heat.
Ooh, philosophical.
Yeah. So if you had like a solid, jumping fountain of pee, some kind of magical situation, because this is Dungeons and Dragons, an abyss alien of pee, where it's just a solid column of water, then yeah, you put a cold thing there, it's going to eventually make the whole column of water cold. But you basically just put ice in a water bottle, at that point. So I'm just going to give you one little hint, Luke. If you did want to give him a point of damage, just make it more difficult to pee on the ice block. Maybe they're clumsy or tired or scared, they get bumped, and they pee on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because the human body doesn't have wet receptors. We don't actually feel moisture. We feel temperature and pressure. So the reason you can tell that you are colder is because water has evaporated off of you. But the real question that Luke didn't ask is, could pee melt a block of ice in order to receive a key? And for that, Julian, I need you to open this link.
Oh, no, I didn't like how that was prefaced at all. Hey, I'm going to send you on the internet. While we're talking about pee, let me send you this link. Is a terrible opener. All right, I'm clicking it anyway because I have no sense of self-preservation. Oh, it's a D20.
It's a D20.
Yeah. Okay, that's not what I thought it was going to be.
Julian the Bard drank a smidge too much mead. Before his dungeon adventure, he did not take heed, and now here he is, standing over the key. In a block of ice, oh, wary is he. Can Bard Julian pee on the key in the block? Or will he die, besmirched by sunblights, Zardarok?
Shall I roll? Roll for initiative?
You're standing in a dark room. You're out of breath.
It was destined to happen. This is now a D&D podcast. Welcome, everybody.
You're welcome. Hello. Your pet and friend Pepier, a demi-wolf, is with you. Around her neck is a medallion of pure chardolin that you stole from the lord of this keep while he slept off the large quantity of mead that you shared with him, plying him to sleep so that you could steal a medallion. You ran down a hallway out of the dining area where you were sharing said mead, and you entered a room, shut the door behind you, and now you're here. What do you do?
With this block of ice key?
Oh, no, there's no block. You don't know.
Oh, I'm just in a room?
You're just in a room. You're just in a dark room. You're out of breath. You have to pee.
Well, I suppose I find a corner.
You got it. You're gonna look around the room?
Yeah, okay. I look around the room.
Okay, go ahead and roll for initiative there.
And 17.
Wow, that's a good roll.
It is a good roll.
Okay. The room is dark and cold. The walls are made of a smooth, cool, black-blue stone. Behind you is a thick wooden door that you just entered the room through, and in the middle of the room is a pedestal. On the pedestal is a block of ice lit by a small hole in the ceiling, so you can see in the room. Across from you is another larger door with a keyhole. There's something on the floor near the other door. You can't quite make it out. The floor is smooth, not too worn. And then you notice a few divots here and there on the floor, and generally speaking, there's a bunch of barrels off in one corner near you that look like they have some spigots on them. Okay, what are you gonna do?
I'm fighting the D&D player urge to do everything you don't want me to do first.
Do whatever you want, dude. This is the
I
now.
romance the block of ice. I try and warm its cold heart as the bard. I'm drawn to the spig. Why are there spigots? I'm going to inspect the spigots.
Okay, go over there and inspect the spigots. You can roll if you want.
Oh my god, 19. Wow, we are going to regress toward the mean real bad.
These are wine barrels, reused dwarven oak wine barrels. They're empty. The spigots are all in excellent condition and seem to work. The barrels have no lids on the top of them, so they're open at one end and the spigot is at the other end, but there's nothing in any of the barrels. Sort of just wasted.
I did.
But that's fine.
I did.
That's sort of fine.
I'm going to regress toward the mean real hard on this next roll. I can feel it in my bones. All right. Let's check out this block of ice.
Okay. You inspect the ice? You want to roll for that too?
Yeah. 14. Oh boy, they've all been above 10 so far.
Yeah, honestly, not bad. This is a pedestal with a block of ice, and inside this perfectly clear block is an old key.
I pee on it!
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. You didn't even go and inspect the other thing at the other side of the...
Dungeon Master.
You hear a blood-curdling cry from the dining hall on the other side of the door.
Hold on, I'm peeing. Wait first.
No, you're not yet. It seems that Zardarok Sunblight has realized you've stolen his precious medallion. Muffled sounds of shouting in Durgan, that's the language they speak, I looked it up, are coming from behind the door, which, by the way, is unlocked.
Oh, no.
Probably should have mentioned that, but you didn't really inspect the door, so...
Well, I better pee quick.
Yeah, you maybe should go inspect
Maybe
the
he's
door
going to be
first
too
so
drunk to know how to operate a door.
Oh, no, he's a pretty big deal.
Okay, let's go inspect that door.
So you don't die, or you'll never get to pee.
Well, I hear the last thing you do as you die is...
I mean, yes, but I don't think you're going to be able to hit the block then. Okay, so roll for initiative to inspect.
Okay, I'm going to the door. 18! Oh, no.
Oh, wow, that's pretty
ridiculous.
Good. Okay, you inspect the door. There are no traps, no keyholes, no door handle, no way to open the door from your side at all. There is no lock that you can see, except for a light-duty hook lock, like one of those ones on a latrine. You could probably hold the door for a few minutes, but you're not strong enough to do it. It's quite heavy. There are, however, 2 L brackets on either side of the door that look like they would allow you to bar it if you can find something long and heavy.
Okay, so I'm going to search the room for something long and heavy.
Okay, great. Yeah, you should definitely do that. Do you want to roll for that, or do you just want to
I did.
You just want to walk around the room?
13.
Okay, that's fine. You walk around the room, and the barrels are on your left as you enter, but across the room is another door that's locked. If only you had a key.
God, if only I hadn't wasted all this time.
Next to the door is a skeleton in some tattered blankets. Leaning next to the wall is a discarded, rusty, heavy metal pike.
Cool. Probably unimportant.
Do you want to search the body?
Unless you put a lot of effort into what's on the body.
No.
Okay, I'm just gonna put gonna put the pike in the L bracket.
Okay, and you hear the pike, or you grab the pike and you go put it in the L bracket. I don't think you really
rolled.
have to roll for that. Oh,
You want to know what I rolled?
yeah?
I rolled a 1.
Oh shit.
I knew it was gonna happen.
You drop the pike on your foot.
Okay, good. Oh, that's it.
It hurts really bad.
Okay.
I'm being nice.
Thank you.
Because we need you to solve the riddle of this
Okay.
adventure. You lose 1 point
There
of
you
damage
go.
when you trip, fall, and smash your face on the floor. Your nose is bleeding. Your familiar demi-wolf Pepier licks your face.
Good
and
boy.
makes you feel
Thank
better.
you.
She starts pulling the rusty pike toward the door because you are obviously too still drunk from the mead to be able to handle it. The pounding on the door, you can hear people in the hallway on the other side of the door. Several voices in Durgar, the language of the underdwarves, are on the other side. And you can hear Zardoc shouting in Durgan to break the door down. So you need to melt the ice. I'm just telling you now to unlock the other door so you can get the heck out of here.
Right.
But you've now blocked the door with the
Thank
pike.
goodness. Thank you.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Pepier. Okay.
So,
Oh,
what are you
it
gonna,
just
what are you
dawned
gonna
on
do?
me that's a reference to my dog, Pepper. I thought it was like a Pepe Le Pew reference for some reason, and I was trying to connect the dots.
Pepper wasn't a very good D&D
Pepier.
name. So Pepier the
I'm
demi-wolf.
gonna call our dog that
as
now.
opposed to Pepper the half
half
Chihuahua. That doesn't have quite the same ring to it.
They're not a very like fantasy world dog Chihuahuas, are they?
No, not really.
Okay, yeah.
So you need the key. What are you gonna do, Julian?
Wait, I have an idea. I throw the dog at No. I pee on it, obviously.
All right. Sidebar here, some science.
No!
Did you know that all animals pee at about the same rate?
That's good to know.
Did you know that? Most mammals take about 20 seconds to pee, even with radically different volumes of urine. So elephants have about 160 liters of urine, which is like 42 gallons of urine. They pee it all out in about 22 seconds, whereas a bison has about 5.5 gallons of urine. And they take 20 seconds, and even a very large dog at 1.5 liters or 0.4 gallons, about 20 seconds.
Does that include the time it takes the dog to spin around? Because my dog does that and it takes forever.
No, just the peeing part. And then finally, humans, of course, 700 milliliters in about 20 seconds. So, you know you have about 20 seconds of pee. If you're going to melt a block of ice with a key in it. So, to melt ice requires 334 joules per gram to melt it. You need to calculate the change in heat that your hot body liquid is going to put into the ice. Okay. So we're going to keep it simple and assume both are water. I think that's easier than calculating all the little things, and 95% water.
Good
is
enough.
fine. So
What's 5% urea between friends, right?
yeah, totes. So do you know the change in heat equation?
Yeah. Oh man, this is like burrowing into deep old like high school physics class. But I always remember it because it reminds me of a kitty cat because it's Q, right, which is the amount of energy you need, equals M.
Yeah, change in heat.
The mass, times C, the specific heat capacity of the substance, times delta T, change in temperature. So it looks like M
How's
cat.
that a cat?
That's how I always think of it.
Oh, because the
Yeah,
delta.
it always looks like a little A. Even though if
cute.
you're Greek, it would
Q
be a
equals
D.
MCAT.
It would be M.
Oh, that's cute. I like that. I like that. That's a good mnemonic. All right, so the specific heat we need of water is 4.184 joules per gram Celsius. Mass of the urine. Do you remember how much mass an adult can carry? And we're assuming, of course, this bard, because you, the bard, were just drinking a bunch of mead, so you really have to pee.
It was like volume, like 700 milliliters, right?
Yep, 700 milliliters. So you really got to pee. You have the most pee you could possibly have. I'm trying to give you every way to solve this problem.
Appreciate it.
You're changing in temperature from body temperature. So water stored in the bladder or urine stored in the bladder is body temperature. So you're at 37 Celsius and you're going to 0, roughly. So, you're trying to get your water to equalize with the ice as best as possible. So we need to know how much, how many joules that would create or that would need.
That would transfer.
So you run it through and you get that hot 700 milliliters of urine contains about 108,000 joules of heat energy.
Wow.
I mean, humans are, we're warm. We're not super hot, but we're warm.
I'm pretty hot.
I think that's probably all we need, but am I missing anything?
So here's what I'm thinking, though, and I think this trips up a lot of physics students. I remember it being weird, is like there's a different equation for when the material is changing phase, right? Like when you're melting ice, it's not getting warmer, which is trippy, right? It's not going from like 0C to 1. It's staying at 0, but it's changing phase and absorbing energy. And so there's a different equation for that.
Man, you're smart.
Thank you.
That's right. There's the Q equals M, and then there's a different phase depending on whether it's going to a gas or to a liquid or freezing or thawing or whatever.
Right. Latent heat of vaporization and latent heat of fusion. And fusion's the one we'd want here for our block of ice with our key in it.
Exactly. So it's Q equals the mass times the latent heat of fusion. It's basically like you go to a table and you look it up. And it is 334 for water. So 700 milliliters of, I guess it would actually be less. It'd be 325 milliliters of ice. No, it depends on how big our block is. We're going to just say 700. We're going to assume the block is 700 milliliters. Keep it simple so you can tell how much of the ice you can melt with your 700 milliliters. And that we get 234,000 joules.
Oh, a lot.
Sorry, buddy. Yeah, so almost double, a little more than double. So, assuming perfect conditions, an oversimplification of actual physics, 700 milliliters of 37 Celsius water could reduce about half, like a 350 milliliter of ice to liquid, which would be about one softball.
Okay.
Like a couple baseballs, half a cup of 20-ounce liquid ice.
Sure.
So, could Julian the Bard melt the ice? Roll your die. Let's find out.
I have terrible news for you. I rolled before you went into the science sidebar.
Oh, just roll again.
Okay. Are you sure? Because I rolled another 1.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's less fun. I mean, it's not less fun. It's fine.
Natural 20, baby!
Shut the front door!
Let's go!
No!
Let's go, P!
Oh, man. I shouldn't have let you
Yeah,
re-roll.
baby! Too late, Dungeon Master. Your rules. Let's go.
All right. As you're unbuttoning your complex fantasy world outfit in order to access your peeing organs, the door behind you is groaning under the weight of Zardarok's Sunblight, who is normally dwarf-sized but has cast some kind of underdwarven magic, so you can hear that he has grown to at least 2 or 3 times his normal size. So, you gesture to Pepierre, who runs to the skeleton to grab a flagon that she saw there earlier and pushes the ice block off the pedestal, chipping it a bit, then lifts it into the flagon. You then pee into the flagon, so you don't have to worry about your aim.
Good.
700 milliliters of hot, bardy urine.
The best urine.
Mead-fueled. You get all of your urine in there and melt enough of the ice to access the key.
It's kind of gross. It's kind of unsanitary, as we've established. Okay, I go to unlock the door.
You unlock the door Just as you do, the door behind you bursts open as the pike bends, and a 5 times normal-sized Zardarok Sunblight screams and runs into the room. And because of the square cube law, his volume and mass have increased exponentially, which is pretty cool. See previous episodes. Anyway, but you escape through the door.
Wow. And I only suffered a point of damage from my own incompetence.
And somewhat
intoxication. Yeah, a little bit. Column A, column B.
I did have, if you had rolled a 1, when being that you peed on yourself also.
And then died, and then was murdered.
And Pepierre makes a disgust noise. But that Zardarok Sunblight would think it was funny and that he hadn't laughed in a while. So he takes the medallion from you and leaves you there to die. But before doing so, pees in those barrels that are in the corner, so you can use those to get to
Aha! Wow, you had it all planned out. Look at you, like some sort of master of this dungeon I was in.
I've never been a dungeon master. How did I do?
You know what? I had fun.
I'm so glad. That's the point.
What matters.
So, can you pee on an object that's so cold that the act of peeing on it makes you colder? Not really, Luke. But Dungeons and Dragons is fun, so thanks for bringing it up. Anyway, thanks, Luke, for asking your question, and thanks to the kiddos for thinking of such a creative way of getting out of their troubles.
Next time, Luke, if you want to deal some damage, electrify the block of ice.
Oh, I actually started looking into that, and I was like...
if I had rolled a natural 1, that would have been the...
Yeah, ouch. Let's take a break.
Yeah, I could go for some mead.